Welcome to our Facebook Live for the month of February. If you're watching this, make sure that you share it so that other people can see it. And we'll give you about 30 seconds to allow people to connect so that they can also have access to this great information that we're about to give you. So yeah, we'll just wait for people to connect. Make sure that you share so that it gets to more people. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the PsyD program here at Albizu University. And with me, I have Jorge and Gustavo. They are both PsyD students here on campus. So let's start with getting to know them a little bit. So Gustavo, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm 35 years old. I actually came to the PsyD program by an unusual route. I used to be a fashion designer, but my father actually is an alum here. So okay. He's a psychologist, and he came here. So it's been something that I had been talking about with him for a few years, but prior to starting. But yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah. And Jorge?
Yeah. So I'm Jorge Sanchez. I originally from Colorado. 33 years old. As you said, I'm in the PsyD program. And I actually was in the master's program originally, completed that, and find myself in the PsyD program at the moment. So.
Okay. So how did you both hear about Albizu Miami? And I'll start with Jorge.
Yeah, so the way I found out about Albizu was by looking at different APA accredited programs, and I saw that this school happened to be in Miami, and that was also a plus.
Oh, so you came from Colorado?
I came from Colorado.
Oh,
yes.
So you were like, it's accredited and it's in sunny Miami. What's there to think about? Was that kind of how it went?
Oh, basically, yeah. Okay. Who's gonna turn down palm trees? Basically. Right. Yeah. And that's ultimately the way I ended up finding out about it. That was a big factor for me. The fact that it's APA accredited was really important.
Okay, and Gustavo, how did you find out?
So, like I mentioned,
your dad.
my father came here, so I knew about it already for years prior.
And he came to this campus as well?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I had started researching it, shortly after we started talking. But that's how I heard about it.
Okay, so we said that you were both in PsyD. So what does that mean? What is that program PsyD all about?
Well, the PsyD is ultimately, it's in clinical psychology, and what that ends up meaning is that as opposed to a PhD, it focuses a lot more on clinical aspect of it, which is being able that interpersonal communication with another person rather than research based.
Would you add something to that?
I agree. It's traditionally PhD programs are more research focused. They'll still have an applied sort of practice or experience, but a PsyD has a much heavier clinical focus, and so you get that's sort of the advantage of a PsyD is that you are going to have a lot more of that hands-on clinical training.
Okay.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, PsyD programs can be a little bit shorter than a PhD program.
Yeah. And that was my next question. How does PsyD differ from PhD? Do you have any other insights about how that differs?
Well, I know PhD programs, like I said, can be a little bit longer.
Okay.
They tend to be, again, the focus tends to be very research oriented, and typically people that are geared at more academic or research like goals would want to pursue the PhD. You can practice clinically with both, okay. But yeah, typically if you're sort of very interested in research, then you would, or academia, you would go the route of a PhD.
Okay, so I'm understanding now. So I like how you put that if you're more interested in academia or research, you go for a PhD. So then what would you say that is the interest more if you go to PsyD?
Well, really, I think it ends up being, like I said, that interpersonal communication. If you end up finding yourself wanting to be more of a traditional therapist, the PsyD would definitely be more that route.
Okay.
One thing I would add to, I guess the way the field is kind of changing a little bit, and the way that I know our school is kind of addressing it, is that even though we are a PsyD and we're a little more focused on the clinical aspect of psychology, we definitely, the field is moving more towards making sure that we're research-based.
Okay.
And that
so you kind of get best of the both worlds.
they're trying to make it more of a balance than previously. Yeah.
That's great. So what has been the best part of the program thus far for you guys?
I think for me, the professors are very hands-on with us, I would say, and you get to know, we don't have like very large classes as compared to maybe some other universities.
Right.
So you get a lot more of an intimate feel with your teachers, and they're, they get to know who you are.
Right, so they know you in like a first name basis.
They know you, yeah.
Okay.
And even, I know that even professors, because it's, it's a certain number of professors that teach throughout the program, so they get to know you
throughout your
and they'll
career
get to
here.
Start getting to know you from the very beginning.
Okay.
They talk amongst each other, they share, your strengths, your weaknesses, where your opportunities
That's
are.
really interesting, because then you can go from one course to the next with already, like, even if it's a new professor, but the old professor could have talked to him about you and kind of get to know what your competencies and stuff.
In a way to sort of personalize the experience,
That's really neat. And what would you say for you has been the best so far?
Well, I definitely, I would agree that because it's a small school and there's definitely that sense of community. One of the things that I like is the accessibility to the professors. It's a phone call away, email away. Like, you can just sometimes drop in their office, so that makes it. It makes it really. It's really accessible and approachable. Definitely.
That's great.
And I think one thing too that I would add too is the cultural aspect of things. I think in South Florida we have unique opportunities to sort of be exposed to a lot of different types of cultures, not just geographic or ethnic, but just a whole conglomerate of different types
I've actually heard that a lot of the people that come to this institution get a broader experience of problems that like wouldn't be so prevalent in other communities.
And if they are too, you always want to gear it towards, with a cultural lens, and that's something that, the whole industry is really pushing for, is to really sort of have a cultural sensitivity and a cultural understanding. So
yeah, that's really important.
Yeah,
definitely.
So how did you guys enter the program? Was it easy? Did you get help from people here on campus? Was it hard? How was that experience?
Well, my personal experience, it was fairly simple. Went ahead and the application was pretty straightforward.
You did it online while you were in Colorado?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were actually, so that's really important that you brought that up, because they were actually very accommodating with that. They realized that a flight like that can be expensive, especially last minute. So they allowed for a phone interview, and also as far as the process, like I said, I would say it's simple. You just have to make sure that you have your recommendation letters on point and everything. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
How was your experience?
My experience was, it was also straightforward. I had a lot of guidance from sort of admissions here, because I was coming from an unrelated field. I had to sort of prepare to account for that, and recommendation letters, pull my transcripts from before and everything. So that was for me, it was, I think I had to do a little bit of extra work, but I think for anybody who has a psychology background, it is very straightforward, and it's just about.
And even if your background is in psychology, which is your case, they still helped you.
They still help
kind of make it smoother.
Still, I think you still have the opportunity to join the program if it's something that you.
Yeah, because coming from what was it?
Fashion design. Yeah, it's it's very unrelated. So, but I was still able to do it, and I think the interview process is important too.
Okay, and how was that process for you?
It was good. I think everybody was nervous in the beginning, but again, it's the staff here is really personable, so it's they made it feel easier, I would say.
Okay, and I think this is the best question. How much longer do you have to go? Can you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Or?
Some days. we have about 3.5 years left within the program, and so it's a long haul. You know, it's a commitment, but it's worth it in the end. You know, it's a total of 5 years that you're dedicating.
Okay.
So you have to be ready for that. You know.
But are you guys working also?
I have worked. I'm not working. I haven't worked recently. This past semester, a block is what we call them here. But yeah, you know, so you know, you can to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, so the work aspect is definitely a little more difficult to balance, especially as you go further along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you had a little help with, I heard about a grant.
That's true. So while I was in the master's program, I was able to apply for the HRSA grant.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was I was encouraged by a few professors to go ahead and apply, and I mean that was great. It was $10,000 that was allotted to me, and I was able to go ahead and apply that towards books and tuition and everything. So that was great.
It's like a load off, so that you know you can continue your schoolwork, get a little money, so you can continue and not really have that pressure of you really have to work.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, it definitely allows for you to be able to focus on what you're doing, which is, I mean, this is a career choice that you're making. And yeah, it definitely allowed me and gave me the opportunity to go ahead and focus on my studies.
And if you're watching and you're a current student, I heard that there's still about a few of those that they want to give away, right?
Yeah, well, that's actually an ongoing process.
Yeah.
They have those, they're offering that to different degree programs. I know that as far as the PsyD program is concerned, we were available for the pre-doctoral minority fellowship program, HRSA grant, and then there's also one that the master's program offers as well. So all three of their degrees.
And here on campus, they helped you to find out what are those grants you can apply and how you can apply them and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was one of the easiest things to be able to do. You just, if you're interested, first of all, they email you and let you know this is an opportunity for you. If you're interested, you just reply, and they will go ahead and let you know exactly what you have to do and deadlines, and help you out with recommendation letters and so on.
Okay, so that's cool. So if you're interested, you can inbox us and we can find out a little bit more information for you if you're a current student at Albizu. Now let's go back to what are your plans after you finish your PsyD?
For me, I mean, I think I would like to, to be working with a group or have a private practice. My dad has his private practice and he really loves it. So I think end goal, that would be great. But I'd be open, to sort of working initially at a hospital or like I said, in a group, just to get more of that experience. But yeah.
Okay. And you, Jorge?
Yeah, so my interest is in trauma, and I also like the military population.
Oh.
So ideally, I would like to work at a VA, veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, ideally that'd be the best opportunity for me. Down the road, I'd eventually like to be able to kind of set up my own shop and be able to see people privately. So,
okay.
Private practice.
Those are both really ambitious goals and really great goals. Now, would you recommend Albizu University for people looking for a PsyD? And why would you? I mean, if you would.
I would. It's like I said, it's the program is, you have more hands-on experience with your faculty. I think you get a really solid sort of clinical experience. We tend to jump in faster maybe than some other universities.
Okay.
So you start accruing face-to-face hours and experience with clients very soon into your career, and there is that focus. And then there's the cultural focus as well. I think here we're very sensitive to that and wanting to really highlight that as part of the experience and take advantage of sort of where we're at geographically too.
Yeah, I think that a lot of other universities maybe don't have that advantage of being kind of like in a huge melting pot city,
right?
So that you can get that sensitivity, and like you said, that sensitivity is something that is being asked for more and more nowadays, right?
Right.
Definitely. So you begin to get that while you're
right
at
away.
school.
Yeah.
And then would you recommend?
Yeah, no, I would also, I agree with Gustavo. I would definitely recommend Albizu University. I think that, I mean, you touched on just about everything I like about this school. The cultural aspect is big. Once again, it feeling like a community and being able to reach out to the professors is really important. It's really, it makes you feel like whenever, you know, you hit those bumps when they're bound to come, they could definitely help you move past those. So because of that, yeah, definitely. And it's APA accredited. I mean,
Absolutely.
that can't stress that enough. Like, that's really important.
Important,
So.
yeah. So I'm gonna go off script before we finish because it's really interesting to me that you come from Colorado.
Yeah.
So how does coming from Colorado, which city?
Denver.
Denver to Miami. How did that influence you in your studies? Because like we said, you know, there's a cultural aspect to Miami. Have you found that has actually helped versus if you would have stayed in Denver?
Well, I mean, so it definitely there's a big cultural shift from, you know, being in Denver as opposed to Miami. You definitely have to know your Spanish in Miami. Don't have to, but it definitely helps. It goes a long way. But no, I mean, I think that being able to interact with more people from various cultural backgrounds, it's gonna show long term in my practice, of course.
Okay, that's great. So I think that I'm about done with all my questions. Is there anything else that you guys think that people should know about the PsyD program, or maybe somebody who's kind of like on the fence?
I would say if you have the opportunity to come and, you know, check out the school and meet with the professors, I think that would be, you know, it's always helpful. And
yeah, and they're really open. You can just come, you can inbox us, we can set you up for a visit, or you can actually just come and drop in.
So yeah, there's, you know, at admissions you can stop by and just get information, and it definitely helps to sort of come on campus and get a feel for it if you're in the area, of course.
Anything else?
Yeah, no, I mean, Gustavo was well spoken, and he hit it right out the park. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're able to actually come down and get a feel for the atmosphere, and, you know, actually be able to speak to some students as well, I mean, I think that that ends up going a long way.
And I'm glad that we had the chance to sit down with you both, because people could see what the PsyD is from your point of view, right? Not just from the institution, but actually from the from the mouth of actual students.
Right. Yeah.
So if you have any questions, you can contact us, you can message us, you can inbox us, you can write a comment on this video, and we'll be happy to help you. So thank you and have a great day.